Hi everyone. I was going to do this as a live stream, but I think it's better just to make it as a regular video. I have so many things to show and kind of like jump around from different photos, so I'm just going to record it this way. But yeah, leave it to Beaver, Wally and the Beav. um, in case you're not familiar with this show, this was kind of like the ideal 1950s family. They had the perfect little life, lived in the suburbs. It was like squeaky clean, um, just like all American, like the ideal, what was considered ideal in, like the 50s. And this is, of course, like the boomer generation. The kids, Wally and the Beav, they would be considered what ended up being known as the boomer generation. And, a lot of people laugh at that, but on one hand, you have wholesome, more innocent times, but were they really? So let's get into the weirdness of Leave It to Beaver. Now, maybe I'm paranoid, as evidenced as I always cover up the video thing on my laptop because I think people can see us. I'm a conspiracy theorist and whatnot. Just as I've been like looking at different TV casts, that all seem transgender. um, it just makes me wonder what the point of TV is. And if it is a weapon of mass destruction, just for like, the content, but also all of the subliminals. So, a weapon of mass destruction is considered a biological, chemical, radiological, nuclear, or any other weapon that can kill or significantly harm many people or cause great damage to, what does that say? Artificial structures like buildings, natural structures, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, what about psychological damage? I have an article pulled up here called What Are Subliminal Messages and Do They Work? There's a lot of subliminal messages on TV. And the reason I'm calling this, what did I call it? The Leave It to Beaver mind, bleep, is because even though this is like, such a wholesome family show, it's the subliminals that are really seeping into your subconscious if there's a transgender cast. And that's what I want to get into. I have some information pulled up about psychological warfare. And as I'm thinking, like this video can go in like a million different directions, but what happens to all the poor saps that move out to Hollywood and I guess New York, is that a thing, like to get into acting and movies and stuff? Because honestly, I don't think they have a chance. Like I don't really think regular people, like what about all of the people that major in drama and go to different schools for performing arts? Do they have any type of a chance in Hollywood or TV besides maybe like being an extra? I mean, even like different like guest star roles or like people walking in the background on the street are trans. So like how do any regular people ever do they ever make it? Like I don't think so. I've only known of one guy directly in my life who he went to my church who moved out to Hollywood to try to become an actor, and he had like good looks, Hollywood actor looks and everything, but he moved back home after a year. Actually, I knew of one other guy too, and I don't think anything ever happened with him either. So yeah, just what do these people do? I feel bad. I really don't think they have a chance. But anyways, I'm just wandering here. Let's get it back into Leave It to Beaver. So here's the Beav doing the chalice pose. If you watch any of Simon Wood's videos, he likes to point out the chalice pose, which I think is some kind of like Aleister Crowley satanic occult pose. The chalice has something to do with spells and witchcraft, and a lot of Hollywood, stars do this pose. We saw this in My Punky Brewster listeners, you can see me. Sorry, I look beautiful. I have Vaseline on my face right now, so pardon that. Um, yeah, this is Punky Brewster. I showed a whole video of her, and this is her doing the chalice pose. And what is she like? Why is she sucking on a key or something? That's probably some other symbolic stuff, right? Someone along the way told me Hollywood is actual wood that's used to make, like, see that broom, like broom handles, broomsticks. So Hollywood, witch's broom. I think that's an actual thing. Um, so I think Hollywood is like full of these witches, and if you're a regular person, good luck trying to like get on TV and everything. All right, sorry about that. I found an interview of Jerry Mathers on YouTube because I was curious, why is he called the Beaver? And what I was looking for was like a very solid explanation because Beaver, like they've been telling us all along, guys, Beaver. What do you know is a beaver? The only thing I've ever heard called a beaver is, I'm sorry to be like gross here, but beaver is a slang and vulgar word for a vagina. So is it possible that Leave It to Beaver, they told you all along about this cast that Leave It to Beaver, Beaver is a girl? I mean, that would be a pretty, like it says here, vulgar and disgusting word to call this little boy. But I mean, I've thought that, throughout the years, like, what a interesting choice of a nickname. Of all the names out there, why is this kid called Beaver? Well, this explanation makes a lot of sense to me, especially because in this interview with Jerry Mathers, I would watch this. I would like to play it, but I don't know about copyrights. He basically says there's no good reason why he was named the Beaver, and the only explanations that the writers gave at the very end of the 6 year run of this show was that when he was a little kid, sorry, like, yeah, Wally was having trouble saying Theodore, so he called him like Teeter, and his parents changed it to Beaver. And even Jerry Mathers is like, yeah, that makes absolutely no sense. He was like, I think they could come up with something way better than that, and they didn't. So he's telling you there's no explanation for that name, but it's probably because he can't tell us the good reason. And I always thought Jerry Mathers was like a very interesting looking, like really weird looking adult male. Look at the vertical forehead, and just he's very peculiar looking. That's not insulting his looks, just I don't know that this is a biological dude. Just in case you're unfamiliar, Leave It to Beaver was on TV from 1957 to 1963, so earlier days of TV. And I was surprised to learn it really wasn't a big hit. Um, it was not a big hit like originally, and it even got canceled after its first season, I think on like CBS, and then another network picked them up. I think it was NBC or ABC, and they put a lot of money into the show, and it had a successful 5 years, but it actually became much more popular in reruns, which is when I saw it as a kid in the 80s, and everybody knew the show Leave It to Beaver. This became like, just an American, like, iconic show that everybody knows about. So Jerry Mathers is the Beaver. The father here is Hugh Beaumont. We're going to take a closer look at him. We've got Barbara Billingsley. We're really going to take a close look at her as the mom. And Tony Dow, who was Wally Cleaver. Um, this was June Cleaver. I can't remember if I said that. Wally Cleaver. And Eddie Haskell was like the funny friend of Tony. And he was like the wisecracking, like either neighbor or, friend that lived nearby. He was very funny. So, knowing what we know and doing transvestigations, what kind of energy are you getting from this person? And when you look over here, like look at the different body shapes. We're going to take a closer look, but I want you to notice like the long arms here and the long jaw, and just kind of like the overall like skeletal body structure of what we've seen so many times before. And you're going to see that the father is a lot curvier in his shape. This is a pretty nice picture of Tony Dow, but there was some like phases like towards the beginning of the show where I thought he was kind of like just a little goofy looking. That's a nice photo. And then in reruns, I couldn't help notice. I was like, huh, like Wally's a pretty handsome guy, right? Um, but is it a guy? It's harder for me to tell with the kids on this, like in general, but sometimes it's more obvious than others. But one of the reasons I want to focus on him and all of this subliminal stuff is because apparently he was like a big like teenage kind of like teen idol back then. And I read this article that said, like he wasn't a teen singer, he didn't dance, but like he was on this hit show and he was getting a ton of fan mail from these teenage girls. So this is where it becomes a problem, is when you have young people developing these crushes, kind of like my girl crush videos where I had like, all of these different little, I call them crushes because I was tuning into the show really for them. And it's really not the sex you think it is. Like, really, for me, they were boys and I felt an attraction, but they were presenting as girls, where is this really a girl? I don't know. Like, look at the vertical forehead, look at the more feminine, close together eyes, look at, like his lips, and it's more of, I guess, like an oval shape face. And we're going to see more pictures of his body where he's got a really curvy spine and kind of more female hips and legs. But that's a very stunning picture of his eyes. He could looks like one of those like Twilight vampires or something. He got better looking as he got a little older, but is that like a feminine? Is he pretty? I guess is what I'm saying. This is a pretty boy, right? You're never going to look at June Cleaver the same, because now all I see is like a big lurpy tranny, like hovering over the kids and this guy with the curvy spine and feminine features on his face. Look at the skull, okay, and look at like the smaller, more feminine features here. There's better pictures, but it's just something I can't help notice. Look at her arms, look at her straight up and down body, and like lack of hips and pelvic area, shoulders wider than the hips, arms that basically touch the floor, straight up and down. um, Look at his little like feminine hand, and look at the back of his head. That is not looking very masculine at all, and like curvy spine there. And she's always very like erect and well, I don't know if that's like the right word, but you know what I mean, like her posture. And I have pictures of her back that we're going to look at, where it's just like straight up and down, and she's got a very like hard masculine like gaze or stare a lot of the time. Check that one out. That those eyes are like it's just not a very feminine look. And then you have the dad with his like oval shaped face, and the ears are a little higher than the eyes, like a delicate looking mouth. I don't know, guys. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts about this. She has pretty big hands and long arms and more of a square shaped face. And you can see on the dad, he's got like the widow's peak, and he has a very little feminine, like, mouth, dental arch, I guess. I don't see really a brow ridge there, vertical forehead. Her facial features are a little harder to tell, but for me, it's all in Barbara Billingsley's like body and back and arms and everything. I spoke too soon. Here's a smoking gun picture for me. What do we have here? That is a really thick neck with like a major Adam's apple action going on. And the dad doesn't have that at all. He look at his like little girly like lips and smile and everything, and high ears. And her ears look lower than the eyes. They've got the hair covering it there. But to me, like we could stop right there because that's like cray cray. Okay, so that's my smoking gun picture of the day. And that just looks like a, tall, lurpy man again. Male stance, male stare, the neck and the jaw. How did we fall for this, guys? And he's always like looking all like little and pretty and like feminine. I'm sorry. Am I dreaming it? Is it this like my imagination or is this really happening? Another somewhat smoking gun. Someone was asking me about clavicles today, and it's not like I'm an expert in anatomy, and I'm definitely not. But I've done some research, and they did say that with collarbones, it is not a feminine feature for them to be so prominent and sticking out. So masculine clavicles are thicker, more prominent, um, and more straight across. Feminine collarbones are more V shaped, but they're also not quite as visible and prominent and thick like that. So we've got a lot of things telling us, there's like a lot of hints here about this person's gender. And like I said, in this day and age, people will be like, well, so what? The reason it's important is because of the deception and what it's doing to people's minds. And then that's why I named the video this, because there's a lot of problems that can happen, a lot of sexual confusion, and a lot of just like psychological warfare going on with it, like all of the deception. That's why it's important. I read this thing. It was like 16 facts you might not know about Leave It to Beaver. And one of the things Barbara Billingsley said was that she always wore pearls to cover up a hollow in her neck. To me, the pearls are there as a distraction from that gigantic, like, neck and Adam's apple area. This was a really creepy cast photo with like this rabbit and eggs. I'm sure it was like an Easter episode, which, if you've done your research, Easter is a pagan holiday, and rabbits symbolize all kinds of stuff in like the occult and witchcraft, like bunny ears. Think of the white rabbit in Alice in Wonderland. Um, like the Playboy bunny stuff, that's another gigantic psyops. Um, I don't know why this is coming to mind, but Macaulay Culkin has this new creepy website called like Bunny Ears, and I think it has maybe something to do with like mind control. Not his website, but like just the symbolism in general. He also had that Pizza Underground band, right? And we know what pizza symbolizes, so like the rabbit thing is just as weird. I chose this photo for her long arms and big hands. I know I'm focusing mostly on the mom. For me, it's a lot. I'm right now. It's a lot easier for me to tell like the male to female, but I'm starting to get better with like the female to male indicators. But it's always just so much more obvious and fun to look at like the male to female ones for some reason. I feel like they made the mom in the Wonder Years look so much like her, even down to the pearls. Doesn't that look so much like Barbara Billingsley, with like the hair and the pearls and everything? And I have bad news about this mom too. Look at the jaw. and the deep set eyes. We're going to take a look at Wonder Years pretty soon. Trust me, I've got a lot to say about that. Oh, that's the same photo. All right, let's look at the bodies. You can see, look at Wally's like hips. I know he's kind of turned to the side. He's got a very curvy body. I've got more pictures of him. The dad's like hips area. They're not showing his full body there, but look at his oval face and like vertical forehead and just girly features. He's a good looking guy, but I don't know if it's a guy. And look at the high ears. And then you have Barbara Billingsley with her straight up and down body and her no hips and like pelvic region, which is, you know, just all straight up and down, just tall and thin lady ish, I guess. And then you've got the Beaver, which it's hard to tell here, but man, as an adult, yeah, he's strange looking. This was just to show male and female pelvis, where here you can see pelvic arch for males, it says narrow, and here it's for the females, it's wider. And as you can see on a lot of the male to females, they've got like the very narrow pelvic region, pelvic arch, I guess you'd call it. Cast photo from Getty Images. I was told anything on Getty Images, anything that has Getty Images splashed on it is all transgender stuff. So I want you to notice Wally's oval face and the dad's oval face. And take a look at Beaver's ears that are higher than his eyes. Ooh, look at Wally's ears back there. Look at the dad's ears and Beaver's ears. They're all higher than their eyes. And I was told that is a female indicator. And of course, Barbara's ears are covered with her hair. But who's the only one with a square-shaped face in this photo? Ding, ding, ding. Square-shaped face is male. Okay. On the Getty Images website, there are 885 Leave It to Beaver images. And I was going through some of these, and some of them are creepy. I'm going to show you my favorite ones. Did I already show this one of Barbara's clavicles here? I can't remember, but I may have. I don't want to talk any trash about poor Eddie Haskell, but look at those ears higher than the eyes. And they're not deep set eyes. You know, deep set eyes are feminine. He's got a smaller dental arch and more of an oval shaped face. If you go to this Getty Images, like Leave It to Beaver images, page 3 is where all the good stuff is. So I'm going to go to page 3. Actually, I lied. I'm on page 2. I came across this one of Wally. I wanted you to see his ears higher than the eyes, and I wanted you to see his super curvy back. Now, when a male sits like that, does their back curve like that? Because that looks like extra curvy to me. Not the most masculine pose in the whole world. And this one struck me as just a little curvy. I don't know, little feminine pose there, in my opinion. More bunny rabbit symbolism. And who's that a statue of there in the, who's that? But yeah, more bunny symbolism. And you know what I'm thinking of all of a sudden? Have you seen the Christmas Story? The Christmas Story movie where the little boy gets that pink bunny suit? That's what this is reminding me of right now. But this seems, this along with that other photo seems a little symbolic to me. All right, now we're on page 3. Why is he wearing those, like, those tights, those, like, nylon knee socks? That's weird. Look at Barbara Billingsley's body here with those, like, long arms and straight, like, up and down back and everything. I don't know. I just felt this was unusual. Another creepy rabbit picture. Weird. He's already the beaver. Now he's in like a rabbit outfit. So strange. I found a couple photos of him winking, and winking is definitely like another occult satanic thing. Like it has to do with like the whole covering one eye thing, one eye symbolism, ears higher than his eyes. This is probably some inside joke, kind of like Evie Stevie on my Out of This World video. You know, haha, he has a mustache here. It's really a girl. I'm just speculating. I don't know that it is, but if it is, they probably got a kick out of this one. Look at the title of the book, The Awkward Age. It's awkward, all right. How do you guys feel about this cast so far? Somewhere along the way, I read that girls are more smiley and boys are, more like serious. Like girls smile more. So I thought I'd show this picture. What about this guest star? A lot of times you can see that the guest star, whoops, that got blurry all of a sudden. You could see where that would be a boy. I see a straight across collarbone there too. Whoa, look at the arm of that this person. That's like a boy's looking arm, huh? I just struck gold. Here we have Wally giving Beaver the Baphomet sign behind his head. That is not just bunny ears. That means that is the sign of the Baphomet transgender. And we have more bunny rabbit symbolism. Creeps. That's the first time I'm seeing this one. Wow. All right, guys. Well, I had planned on showing a lot more of these during the live stream, but YouTube was actually, it kept glitching. I guess they're having trouble with live streaming today. I don't know. But check out these 885 images. All you have to do is type in "Leave It to Beaver" Getty Images, and this will come up. But it's definitely worth it. After Leave It to Beaver, like 20 years later, when I was a kid, in the 80s, like mid 80s, I think this was, they came out with the new Leave It to Beaver, and you're going to see a video on this because I have something to say about this show. As they age, like the male to females always like look scarier. Um, you can see that is not the most feminine looking person. And she's kind of giving me this vibe right here. The scariest person in a horror movie to me is Jason Voorhees' mom in Friday the 13th. This person scares the crap out of me every time, and I just realized it probably is a guy. I mean, like, look at that face, and the ears are lower than the eyes and everything. Oh my God. This mom has scared the crap out of me for years. Way scarier than Jason. This was me just Googling stuff about like rabbits and their spiritual meaning, and I was trying to look up like the occult meaning, but like what do bunny ears symbolize in the occult? It's definitely something. It's got something to do with like mind control and just like occult weirdness. But it's definitely like a thing. If anybody knows exactly what it is, please leave it below. I think Simon Woods had a video on it, but he doesn't explain it. He just shows all of the rabbit symbolism. I need to know exactly what it means, please. And this was just an article about Tony Dow getting all of the fan mail from different, like young girls, and like I said, kind of like my girl crush videos. This is why it's detrimental. They had a crush on this person who probably wasn't even a boy. And that does a lot to your psyche. Like that messes with your mind and your sexual like feelings, and it's all very subconscious. Kind of a pretty, pretty boy. Is he too pretty to be a boy? What do you guys think? And if you made it to the end, I wanted to leave you with two fun things. This was my favorite episode of Leave It to Beaver. You have to look up the episode called, I think it's In the Soup, where Beaver is really curious about this billboard. This was an amazing episode. I think I'm going to watch it after this. He sees this like steaming cup of like soup, and it's a billboard, and he climbs up and falls inside that cup. And like, this is really amazing. And I didn't know it was the most expensive episode they ever made, but it is. So kudos to me for the expensive taste there. It's a really fun episode. You'll like it. And is that a dude? I think this is a tranny. Look at that jaw and the shaved eyebrows. Dead giveaway. Oh my gosh. Okay, we need to stop, but I have one last funny thing to show you. I found this picture and I've been laughing all day. Beaver fever, baby. I love that shirt. I actually kind of want it. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Leave me comments about all of your thoughts. I went over a lot here, and hope you'll subscribe to the channel. Thanks again for watching, and Beaver fever forever. See you soon. Bye-bye.